Hello, I'm Landon Schlungen, and today we're going to go over the anonymous message board on FreeCodeCamp. It's part of the information security projects. So we'll just go into that and we'll get started right away. We need to build a JavaScript app that is functionally similar to this one, where we can post to a board and it'll show up as a new thread. So like one of these is mine, probably this one. And then I can delete it if I have the password for it. And then yeah, it gets deleted, says success, and then yeah, it's not there anymore once I refresh. And then I can submit to a different board. If I go to a different board, so like let's say I do a new board and I say hi on this one, then it'll be at new board, and some people put some different ones in here as well. And then I can also just delete mine as well. I can also reply to mine, so like I'll say hello this time to my other hi and submit that, and then now I'm just in this thread where it has hi and then it says hello, and I can also reply to that and say hello again, submit that, and then it should show up here if I refresh. Yep, there we go, hello and hello again, and then I can delete them if I have the password for them. But yeah, this is what we're going to be building. A lot of sub documents in this one, and it's a little bit more complicated than what we're used to doing on FreeCodeCamp. So let's get into this. First thing we want to do is go back to FreeCodeCamp and find it. So here it is, anonymous message board. And then I'm going to be completing this project locally to start so that I have the power of VS Code on my side. So we're going to go to the GitHub repo and we're going to go to the code, and we want to grab this link right here, copy that, and make sure you have Git installed, and then go into Visual Studio Code. Make sure you're in the folder that you want this in, and then all we have to do is git clone and then paste in that link right there, and then it will clone it into our folder. So right here it is, project, boilerplate project, and I'm going to rename this as just message board. And there we go, there's my message board, and I can also just open it up in this folder. If I just go to File, Open, and I just open the message board. Right here, message board, open that up. And here we go, bare bones. We have our routes right here, where we just have API threads to a board and API replies board. First thing we want to do for this is install our dependencies. So in package.json, here's what we have right now. Body parser chai, chai http, cores.env, express, helmet, and mocha. We need MongoDB, Mongoose, and we also need NodeMon so that we can restart our server faster. So we'll just go down here and we'll do npm install NodeMon, MongoDB, and Mongoose, since we're going to be connecting to our database in this one. And we want to install those, so we'll just hit enter then. There we go, now that we have those installed, we need to make a .env file, and we want to copy over whatever we have in the sample env. And then we need to specify a port. In this case, I'll just do 3002. Just make sure it's not a port that's in use right now. And then our database, that's our database string that we use. And the way we get that is by going to mongodb.com and then going to sign in. I log in with Google, and then here's my cluster, and then I can connect to the cluster, go to connect application, and here's our string that we need right here. So we just want to copy that, go back in here to the database and paste that in right there, and then we have to put in our password and also the database name that we wanted to go to. So in this case, I'll just do message board 2, and then my password I won't show you. So yeah. Alright, so there we go. Now that we have that done, we can get rid of the sample env if we want, or we can keep it. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to connect to our database by making a db connection file, dbconnection.js, and then this is where we're going to get Mongoose, and then we're going to do mongoose.connect, and then we're grabbing our database string and we're connecting to it. And to connect to it, then we need to go into server.js and just require this db connection. So we're just going to go here and we're going to go require /db connection. There we go, we can save that, and we can also start running NodeMon if we want. And to do that, we'll go in package.json and we'll add a script here that'll be dev, and it will tell us to run NodeMon server.js. Save that, and now we can go down here and do npm run dev, and then it will run nodemon server.js, which starts our nodemon server. And then now it's listening on port 3002. So we'll go to localhost port 3002. And here's our application. It doesn't really do much right now, but yeah, hopefully we can change that. Now that we're connected to our database, we need to specify our models. So I'm going to make another file and call it models.js. And this is the data that we're going to store. And this is how I did my schema. First I get mongoose, and then I get schema for mongoose. I just specified a new date thing for the defaults, or I could just put new date in each of those. So I have my reply schema, which has a text, a delete password, a created on, bumped on, and reported, because we can report these as well. And then that turns into a reply model. And then I have a thread schema, which actually uses the reply schema and has the replies as an array of the reply schema. And then we have board, which takes an array of the thread schema. So it's kind of nested layers deep inside of this schema right here. And then we make models with each of them, and then we also export all three of them as well. So this is how I did that. Next, we have to actually use these inside of our API.js routes. We're going to start off with the threads and try and make this work. First of all, we have to do .post on it. So we'll do .post, and it will take in a request and response, and then we can return with res.json whatever we want. I'll just say test, save that, and then now when I go into my board and I post a thread, just something random, it'll submit with test. So that's how we know that's working. We need to import our models up here. So we're going to grab our board model, our thread model, and our reply model from the models folder, .board.thread.reply. Now we're going to actually make this post work. So first thing we have to do is get some information out of rec.body. The information we get is the text, and we get the delete password. We also get the board out of there, but if we don't have a board, then we get it from this param right here, :board. So that's how we get that. And then we use this information to make a new thread. So our thread, kind of like in Slack, it has text, and then we also have the delete password. And then it has an empty array of replies to start off with, which makes sense. And then we go into our board model and we find one. So this is checking like if we already have this board or not. If we don't have this board, then we need to make a new board. If we do have the board, then we just need to push on the thread. So in this case, if there's no board data, then we make a new board model and we push on the new thread and then we save it. Otherwise, if there is board data, so this board already exists, then all we have to do is do threads.push, and we push on the new thread and then we save it and we return like res.json the new thread that we made right here. And then I have an error where I'm missing a parenthesis or something. All right, there we go. So now I can save this and we can try it out. So this is my whole post function. Let's try it out. I got rid of this test thing. If I go back and I post to a new board, I'll post to, I don't know, Landon, hi and hi, submit that, and then we get back this as our JSON, but it also should have updated in our database and on that board. So if I go to /b/Landon, should be there, no. Let's see if it's in our database. Go into collections, should be message board 2, boards, looks like it is here, and we have a thread with an object that says hi, so that's good, it's in our database. Oh, you know why it's not working? It's because I'm not getting it yet, so I need to do the get route before I can actually see it. So yeah, so we figured out how to make a new board. Now we have to figure out how to retrieve it from the database, and that's done with a get route. And we can just chain this on to here, just right here, .get, and then do some stuff on here. First thing we have to do is we have to get our board from the params that are passed in, and then using that we can find a board and then retrieve it. So here we go board model.find1, kind of like what we did up here with board model.find1, and we find the name of the board. Here we do the same thing. If we can't find it, then we just say error, no board with this name. Otherwise we have found it, and we can do data.threads.map. This is just so that I can add in another property to it, which is the reply count, because otherwise I wouldn't have this reply count. So I have to map it, and then it'll have the reply count afterwards, and then I can return the threads. So yeah, this get route's pretty simple. If I didn't have this map thing in here, then it would just be threads, and it would have all the information in it except for reply count, which is just thread.replies.length. But yeah, that's all it does. And now if I save this, I should be able to see my thread here. Let's see. No. Does it work? It's not looking like it. It says no board with this name. What was my board name? It was Landon. Uppercase. Still not finding it, which is weird, but not really sure why. Oh, I know why. Yeah, this project was actually super annoying in the views file. Like usually we don't have to touch this at all, but in this case we actually do. So in board.html we have to actually change this slice thing because it's not doing the right thing like that we want it to. And I think it's mostly because there's not a slash at the end or something. So what we have to do is we just have to get rid of this -1 on the end and just have it slice 3. And then save it, and mine auto formats it with prettier. But now I think it should be able to get this board. So let's see if I can find it now. And it looks like I have found it. Cool. I found my thread that says hi. And I can't really reply to it right now, and I can't delete it right now, but I have been able to get it. So yeah, that's just one annoying thing with this project. Just make sure it's .slice3 and not 3-1. So now we'll go back to api.js, and next up we have the put route for updating so that we can report it. And I'm just going to copy this whole put route. It's not too big. Here's my put route, which is to update the record in the database. First we get the board, and we also get the report ID from the rec.body. And the report ID is the ID of the thread. So in this case, it would be this ID right here, 6099. And we find that board. If we can't find it, we just say error board not found. Otherwise, we have found it, and we can just do board data.threads.id. And this will grab that thread that has that ID. And then all we do is we change the reported on it to true. And we change the bumped on to the new date, which is the current date. And then we just save it with board data.save, and then we just send success. And then what we get back is a alert that says success on it. So if I save this and I report this, also like if I say success like something random, that this is what's going to show up on it. So if I go here and I do report, and it says success and then my random characters. So I'll just change that back to success. Next up we have the delete route, so we can actually delete it. This one's pretty small as well. Not too bad. Here's our delete route. We have the thread ID and the delete password in the rec.body that we get, and we also have the board and the params. We find the board. If there's no border, error board not found. Otherwise we find the thread. And then we say if that delete password equals the delete password that was passed in, then we remove that thread. Otherwise, we say res.send incorrect password, and we return out of it if that happens. Otherwise, we go down and we save that delete, and we just say success. So now if I save this, I should be able to delete this. I think my password I said was hi. So if I delete, it says success. It doesn't show up right away. I have to refresh it, and then it's gone. But yeah, now it's gone, and it's out of our database as well. So there we go. We did everything that has to do with the board is now done. Next up, we have to be able to handle replies. So right now I can't do replies, and it just says not found. So that's what we're going to handle now. The replies. It's quite similar to the board stuff. So if you want to, you can probably figure it out on your own, but I'm going to also show this. First thing we want to do is do .post. I'm going to kind of follow the same pattern as the thread one. So here's our post. We grab thread ID, text, and delete password out of rec.body. We grab the board out of the params, and we make a new reply model that has text and delete password. And then our dates is handled by the default cases in our models. So the default cases are already handled for us. So that's why we only have to put this stuff in here. And then we find the board. If no board, it's not found. Otherwise, we do replies.push this time. Instead of threads.push, we do replies.push, and we push on the new reply after we find it, of course, with .id. And then we save the board data, and we respond with the updated data. So that's my post. Next up, we have the get request. The get request is pretty small. We just find the board, and then we find the thread as well, which is in the rec.query this time, .thread ID, and then we send that thread. Next up, we have the put request. We get the thread ID and the reply ID so that we can find it. And then once we find that reply by doing this, we get the thread first, then we get the reply off the thread, and then we report it, and then we save it, and then we send success. And then the last but not least, we have the delete request, which again, we have to find it first. So we find it with this, and then we, instead of doing reply.reported equals true, we just remove it. We just do reply.remove. And we only do that if the passwords match. Otherwise, we send incorrect password, and then we save it with success. So now all of this should be working, and it should be functional just like the one on FreeCodeCamp. So now I should be able to add a reply here, and it shows up on here with my JSON, but I don't really know how to make it automatically go back to the list. So I just have to hit back, and then I guess it didn't show up. If I refresh, then it does show up. And here it is. It's just hi, except not in bold. And then I can delete it, and I can also report it. Report success, and then I can delete it with my password. Success, and I have to refresh, and now it's gone. So there, everything's functional. Next up, we have to do our functional tests, and we also have to add in some security to it as well. So our tests are going to be in the test folder, our functional tests. And the functional tests have to be what are on FreeCodeCamp, these ones right here. So usually when I do these, I paste them up here and I comment them out, /, and then I just go one by one through these and make my test for them. And here they are, my 10 functional tests. First we create a new thread, and then I also have a couple of these variables up here so that I can delete them later. So I create them first, and then I delete them later on in the test cycle. And I have this posting onto test board. So as long as no one else uses test board, these tests should pass every time, but yeah. Probably not the best way to do it, but it gets the job done. So yeah, I create a new thread, viewing the 10 most recent, deleting a thread, reporting a thread, creating a new reply. We have viewing a single thread, deleting a reply with the incorrect password, reporting a reply, deleting a reply with the correct password, deleting a thread with the correct password, and then we're done. And I can save this. It won't run it right away because my .env file still has that commented out, but I can change that, and then it will run these tests. So I might as well do that. And when we change our .env file, we actually have to restart our server. So I'll just do Control-C to get out of there, and then do yarn dev to start it up again. And then now it's running my tests, and I have a bunch of console logs, and that's what these are. So just a bunch of console logs, but it shows up as 10 passing. So that's great. They are my own tests, so they better pass. Otherwise, I made them wrong, I guess. But yeah, now I can put it in here. It won't pass all the tests because there's still the security ones that we have to fix. It should pass most of them. So if I just put in localhost 3002 into here, say I've completed it, then it completes all of them except for these two, which I need to use Helmet to fix. And this is done in server.js. First of all, I need to require Helmet. So const helmet equals require Helmet. And then I need to add this middleware to it. app.use helmet.frameguard. And then app.use helmet refer policy same origin. And then app.use helmet.dns prefetch control. Those are the three that we need for this one. Now if I save it and I test this out, it fails just this one for some reason. It was passing before, but now it's not, which is weird. Not really sure on that. And I don't really want to waste any more time trying to figure it out because it was happening before on my other one. But somehow it ended up working and then not working and then working. I don't know, it's weird. But yeah, this is pretty much complete now. And now what we have to do is put it on GitHub, and we also have to put it as a publicly visible URL. So I might as well do that. Oh, actually I was able to complete them all. The way I did this is I just reset my database to being new. So I just deleted everything in there, and then I ran the tests again, and now all of them get completed correctly. So it's kind of weird, but yeah, now I'm going to show you how to put it on GitHub. First of all, go to your GitHub account. Here's mine. And then go to repositories and make a new repository. Call this one FreeCodeCamp message board. Description optional, and we'll just create this repository. We need to add a remote origin to it, but first we need to remove the origin that's already on here. So maybe I can list those out. Not sure though. Git list origins. I can do git remote -v to see them. So let's try that. Git remote -v. So here's my origins, it looks like. It's just their named origin, and they go to this FreeCodeCamp boilerplate project. So what I want to do is actually remove that by doing git remote remove, and then I can specify origin. So there we go. Now it should be gone. If I get remote -v, they're gone. And now I can add my own. And I want to do this one, which is my GitHub and my new repository. So there, now that that's added in, I can add all. So do git add all, git commit -m, add a message. I'll say put on GitHub, and then do git push and do whatever it says, which is git push set upstream origin commix. Paste that there, and now it's on GitHub. If I refresh, here it is. This is what we just wrote, and it also shows the contributors. Next thing I want to do is put this on REPL now. So to do that, we'll go to REPL. This is so I can have a publicly visible URL, and I'll log in, Google. I'll make a new REPL, and I will import it from GitHub, and then I will grab it with my GitHub. I'll grab the code, copy this, paste it in here, and then do import from GitHub. Now it's importing, loading in all the files, and we'll see what it turns out as. All right, cool. Now it's on REPL. So we have our routes, and it looks like the code is all the same. Not as cool of highlighting as in VS Code though, but it should run just as before. There might be a few kinks, but let's try it. Needs to install all of my packages. Package JSON should be the same. Yep, still have Mongo, Mongoose, and NodeMon. And also my dev stayed the same. One thing in REPL though I need to do is add my secrets in. So it shouldn't work right now actually. So yeah, we need to add in our .env, but REPL changed it so that they are in the secrets tab. So we just state a key and a value. We need a port, which I'll keep as 3002. We need a DB and also a node env, node environment, and then test. So we'll add that in, and then our database connection string. So whatever you had before, just put it in here, and I will do that as well. So there we go. I have my database in there now, and let's try stopping and running it again. And it should work this time, hopefully. Okay, it refused to connect. Let's try putting it in here. It looks like it's working. Let's try testing it on FreeCodeCamp, see if it works. Put this publicly visible URL in here. We can also add in our GitHub and then say we've completed it. And this one is not working again. So maybe I just have to restart my database again. So I'll just go into my message board 2. If I refresh, it'll show up. Go into boards and just do the trash button and type in boards. Drop it, and let's try this again, see if it works. Hey, let's go. We completed it. And we can submit and go to the next challenge. Next up, we have a port scanner, which I've actually tried already. It's really easy, but for some reason it doesn't really run correctly. I don't know what the deal is with it. But yeah, that's what we have up next. If you liked the video, give it a like, comment down below, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. See ya. Peace.